This morning we expect an update from the Department of Veterans Affairs on an investigation into reports of overprescribing practices and negligent care at the VA hospital in Tomah.
Joining us this morning with his take, as well as some of the other big issues happening in Washington, Congressman Sean Duffy. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
So let's talk about the Tomah VA investigation. Where are we in terms of this investigation?
Well, so from the House side, I've asked, because of all the information that's come out about the overprescription of opiates at the Tomah VA, I've asked the Veterans Affairs Committee to actually come to Tomah and do an investigation to make sure we can gather information. And I think before you can actually start to fix the VA system, and specifically the Tomah VA, you have to know what the problems are. So I asked them to come in and do an investigation in the community. Most of the members of Congress joined with us in that request. And we now have a hearing date. It's going to be 3 weeks from today, March 30th at 1 p.m. We don't have a location yet. We're still working on it. A lot of people want to attend, so we have to make sure we get a facility big enough for people to come in. But it's a matter of exposing what's happened so we can actually fix it.
Is there anything we can expect today?
From the Tomah VA, what do you, in regard to announcements?
This morning there's a press conference at around 8 a.m. from the Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, I think we have to wait and see what they put out. But I think there's been a willingness to actually come forward and look at what's been happening in the VA system. But the problem is, we shouldn't have to have big media exposure and Congress getting involved. Those who work in the VA should be working diligently to make sure our veterans are getting adequate care. And the veterans aren't. And they've been talking about the Tomah VA and the problems there for a number of years, and no one was doing anything about it.
Now, you yourself have worked on several pieces of legislation to help veterans. Has your office received any issues of complaints either at the Tomah VA or at any of these centers?
So, in regard to the Tomah VA, no. I didn't get any complaints about the Tomah VA until I saw about it in the news, and then other people came in with us. But in regard to disability claims, there's a backlog that goes multiple months to get your case heard. If you want to appeal your disability claim, we have constituents that are 4 years waiting, and their hearings aren't for another 2 years. They'll go 6 to 7 years before they get a hearing. I mean, this is unacceptable stuff. So we're trying to push the VA to reform and actually work for the vets.
Yeah, we'll look forward to getting some answers there. What else are you working on in Washington?
So right now we're going to go into the budget season and then the appropriation season. So we set the spending for the coming year and then actually start to spend the money. But in my committee, I'm on financial services. There's a program called Operation Choke Point where the Department of Justice and the bank regulators have been putting pressure on banks to get banks to stop doing business with certain lines of business, whether they're short-term lenders or gun dealers, ammunition manufacturers. And this is un-American stuff. If we don't like certain lines of business, we should debate that in our public. You don't get people that are bureaucrats in Washington putting folks out of business without a trial, a jury, any due process.
Now, you're also working on a congressional art competition. Tell us a little bit about that. How can people submit?
So if you've been in Washington, D.C., and you walk over to the Capitol, you'll see all the art from all the different districts around the country hanging in the Capitol. It's a great competition. We've been doing it for the last 4 years. And you have to submit your art by April 17th. And we have a pretty good competition. We have local artists in the community come together and help us judge. I don't have a lot of art background and ability, so it's actually nice. We bring in a lot of folks who have that talent and help us judge the kids. And the winner, their art piece goes to Washington, but then the runner-ups, they'll go to our D.C. office, our Wausau office, Hudson and Superior offices. So we're encouraging art in our community, but also making sure these artists locally are getting exposed.
Great. Well, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and best of luck to you and to your colleagues on both sides of the aisle in Washington.
We need it. Thank you for the thank you for the well wishes.
Thank you. We will have that information on how to get involved in that art contest on our Facebook page as well as on our website, WSAW.